Hi, my name is Justice and I chose to do my capstone project on pest and disease management of urban fruit trees. Pests and diseases are a serious issue for fruit trees in Washington. It is essential that fruit trees are properly managed in order to prevent further spread and high populations of pests. However, managing fruit trees can be difficult for backyard tree owners in an urban setting. The conventional methods used for commercial orchards are not always applicable or best for managing urban fruit trees. For example, commercial orchards have often used synthetically derived pesticides that add unnatural levels of chemicals into the environment and can cause severe impacts to human health and the health of the environment. To avoid this situation, backyard fruit tree owners can instead utilize integrated pest management approaches to manage prevalent pests and diseases such as codling moth, spotted wing Drosophila, and pear rust in their urban fruit trees. These pests can be seen in figures 4, 2, and 1. For my capstone internship, I was able to intern at the nonprofit organization City Fruit. My role at City Fruit was to research specific pests and diseases that have been affecting fruit trees in Seattle. This role helped me shape my research question, which was what methods of managing codling moth, spotted wing Drosophila, and pear rust in urban fruit trees are most effective, accessible, and practical for backyard fruit tree owners. To answer this, I conducted a literature review on best practices for codling moth, spotted wing Drosophila, and pear rust. I also interviewed orchardists, organic farmers, and community gardeners and combined the data to conclude what methods are best for urban settings. The data I collected culminated into two main findings. The first being that prevention is key in both disease and pest management. It's extremely important to try and prevent the issue of pests and diseases before it even begins. So if you're planning to buy a fruit tree, try to buy pest and disease resistant cultivars, which are varieties of trees that are selectively bred to be pest and disease resistant. You can find these types of trees at your local nurseries. It's also important to critically evaluate your ability to manage your tree. Managing fruit trees is a serious time commitment, a year-long process, and an annual endeavor. There are different methods to utilize during different seasons of the year, and it is important to be able to dedicate enough time to successfully manage your tree. If you find that you don't have this ability, you could consider buying other varieties of trees that do not have as many prevalent pests. These are trees such as Meadowlark trees that produce a delicious fruit with a taste that is often compared to apple butter or apple pie. This is definitely a better option than an apple tree for someone who cannot dedicate the time for intensive management when pest populations are high. The second main finding is that if prevention is unattainable, consistent integrated pest management of fruit trees is essential. The main framework of the IPM strategy is utilizing many different methods, whether it be in categories of physical, cultural, chemical, or biological. At the bottom of the results section, figure 3 defines what types of methods are in each of these categories. We will mainly focus on physical and chemical methods. However, utilizing cultural methods is also a good practice to keep with any fruit tree. Cultural methods consist of sanitizing and pruning your trees by removing dead debris and infested debris. Physical methods consist of banding, netting, trapping, and bagging your tree. Chemical methods include using organic pesticides and fungicides to manage pests and diseases. There are 4 main IPM methods that are best for urban management of pests such as codling moth and spotted wing Drosophila. The first method is netting, which consists of covering the tree fully with a mesh net wide enough to be tied at the base of the tree. This can be seen in figure 5. This creates a physical barrier that the codling moth cannot penetrate. The second method is banding the tree trunks with cardboard during the winter months to encourage codling moth larvae to form their cocoons in the cardboard instead of the trees. This helps in the springtime when the codling moth hatch, they will no longer be on the tree and no longer be able to eat the fruit. The third method is trapping for spotted wing Drosophila. The idea is to set up an apple cider vinegar trap on the tree to catch and identify the first spotted wing Drosophila of the season. This helps farmers know when it is time to start utilizing other methods such as netting. The fourth method is to utilize organic pesticides. Because these pesticides are not synthetically derived, such as the ones commercial orchardists use, they are often not as effective in killing high populations of pests. So it's important when utilizing pesticides to consider utilizing another method in addition to pesticides to make sure the desired level of management occurs. As for diseases such as paras, there are two best IPM methods that backyard tree owners can utilize. These include physically removing nearby host plants such as juniper and cedar trees to prevent the initial spread of the disease. And the second method is to apply organic fungicides before the rest is visible on the trees. Once the disease has germinated, unfortunately, there is not much more management that is possible. Timing applications of these methods is extremely important and is a theme that experts I interviewed really emphasized. Timing can determine whether or not you're able to successfully manage your pests and diseases for the entire year. A single unmanaged fruit tree can cause a spread of pests and diseases throughout an entire urban area and have serious impacts on fruit production. As annual fruit production decreases due to high pest populations, food insecurity issues increase. Many of the local people in Seattle rely on the fresh fruit that comes from public orchards and donated fruit. If pests and diseases destroy this fruit, then these people will no longer have access to fresh fruit, which increases food insecurity. Even though pests and diseases are a natural part of fruit tree ecosystems, it is essential to provide backyard tree owners with the knowledge and methods necessary to keep pest populations low in order to prevent food insecurity and further damage to the urban environment. I would like to quickly thank my host organization, City Fruit, and site supervisor Annie for supporting me during my internship, my capstone instructor, P. Sean McDonald, for his hard work and assistance throughout this entire experience, my amazing peers in the POE cohort, and my friends and family. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.